Now let's look at some different ways that we can create MIDI clips and enter MIDI notes onto those clips. So the first way that I can create a MIDI clip on a MIDI track is simply by double clicking anywhere on the MIDI track, and you can see that it'll create an empty MIDI clip for me that is the length of my current grid size. So my current grid size is 1/4 note. So it just made a very short 1/4 note length MIDI clip. That might be a little bit too short for what I'm trying to do right now. So let's delete that. Let's zoom out a little bit. Remember, we have the adaptive grid. Now my current grid size is 1 bar. So if I double click, it'll make a clip that's 1 bar long. We can see that down here. I'm going to extend this up a little bit so we can see the MIDI clip view a little bit better. I can also hit Option Command E to expand the MIDI clip view so it takes up the full window. For now, I'll kind of keep it small and just manually extend it like this. And we can see the clip view down here. We have this piano roll along the side. If you turn this preview button on, that looks like a little set of headphones. You can click on the MIDI notes and actually hear the different drum samples that they are triggering. And also, as we add MIDI notes onto our clip, we'll hear the drum samples trigger as well. So yeah, if I want to add notes onto this clip, I can use my pencil tool. I can press the B key to toggle the pencil tool on and off. With the pencil tool, I can single click and add MIDI notes in like so. I can also just single click again to remove MIDI notes. If the pencil tool is turned off, we can also see the pencil tool icon up here. You'll see if it's on or off, whether or not it's highlighted. But if I turn it off and use just this pointer tool, I can double click to add MIDI notes. And if I want to delete them, I can either double click on them or click on them to select them and then press the delete key. We can also deactivate notes by clicking on them and pressing the 0 key. So we can draw MIDI notes in like that. We can also play MIDI notes in on our MIDI controller, and let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to delete this MIDI clip. If I have the record arm turned on a MIDI track, and then I hit the record button up here, it will automatically create a MIDI clip on the track, and then as we play MIDI notes on our controller, it'll enter notes into that clip for us all at once. So let's try that right now. I'm currently at 129 BPM. I'm going to turn the metronome on just so I have a sense of the timing that I can play along to. And I'm going to hit the record button up here and we'll see what I can do. Let's hit stop and let's see what I've got. So you can see it created the MIDI clip and then it also entered those notes in real time as I was playing them. I can turn the metronome off. Let's actually hear what it sounds like. And you can see and hear my timing wasn't perfect. In fact, if I turn the metronome back on, we'll be able to hear that maybe a little bit better, those imperfections. That's okay for now. In the next video, we're going to talk about quantizing our MIDI notes, which is the process of locking them onto the grid. It's almost like warping for MIDI notes. You can think about it like that. So anyway, we can record MIDI notes in like that. Let's go down here. I've got another MIDI track with the bass set up. I want to show you a couple of other ways that we can enter MIDI notes in, aside from recording. Let's just create a blank MIDI track for this one. Maybe we'll make it 2 bars long. So I'm going to just click and drag across the track, and then I'm going to press Shift Command M. That's going to create an empty MIDI clip that is the length of the time selection that I just made. So in this case, 2 bars. I'm going to set my loop brace there by pressing Command L. And then if I go down here, I can see the piano roll. Now the piano roll shows me the entire range, every octave of my MIDI keyboard, because this is a pitched instrument. It's not a drum rack, so it's not just triggering samples. So we see the entire range of the keyboard, and then we can, of course, enter notes in like this. There is yet another way to add MIDI notes, and this is called step recording. And this is a technique that allows you to hold a note or a set of notes, called a chord, on your MIDI controller, and then add those notes in right onto the MIDI clip. So it's very cool if you're not very good at maybe getting the timing down of what you're trying to play, or if you have trouble playing chords in real time. To demonstrate this, it might be better if I use like a pad sound or some sort of synth sound that allows us to play chords. So I'm just going to load a new instrument onto a new MIDI track quickly. So let's expand my browser. We'll just go to my presets category here. I know I've got some pads that I like here. I'm going to sort it by user presets, and then I put the prefix PD before all of my pad sounds. So let's just find a PD something. Let's go with Oppie. What does that sound like? Let's try it out. Very mysterious sounding. Okay, we're gonna go with that. So I'm gonna create a new MIDI clip. We'll make it, let's make it a little bit longer. Maybe we'll make it 4 bars long. I'm going to press Shift Command M and then Command L to expand my loop brace. And we'll go down to our MIDI clip and let's just play a chord. And let's see the octave that I'm in. I want to make sure my track is record armed, which it is. In order to get this technique to work, close my browser, we need to make sure that the preview button is turned on, otherwise it won't work. I think I'm in the C2 octave. Okay. Let's maybe go up to C3. It's a little bit brighter sounding. So you can see now the notes that I'm playing. They highlight on the piano roll, and then we can also see just these little almost sprouts of the notes there. So as I continue to hold the notes down on my keyboard, I can press the right arrow key, and it will draw the notes in. Let's try that one more time. And you can see how it extends the notes and draws them in. Now, every time I press the right arrow key, it expands it by one grid line. My current grid size is 16th notes. You can see that up over here. So let's make just like a 1 bar long chord there. Throw in another chord there. I'll expand it out to the second bar, and then maybe we'll do something simple like that. Let's see what that sounds like. So just a quick little chord progression using that step recording function. So these are a few different ways that we can create MIDI clips and then enter MIDI notes onto our MIDI clips.